Hello, so day 2, back on this Rewire. The guys have been getting on really well, lots and lots of chasing is happening. It's dusty work, as you know, but we've hired a wall chaser with a vacuum, so that helps to kind of keep dust to a minimum, because obviously you can clean up the dust to a certain extent afterwards, but there's always some that you can't quite get, so we try to always leave the site dust-free as much as possible for our customers. And also it's just not nice working in a dusty environment for the guys. So I'm back here. We've had a little bit of an issue with lighting because it is quite dark outside. It's been quite cloudy and it's winter. The evenings are getting dark really early. So I've ordered some site lighting to be delivered here as well this afternoon, so that for the rest of the week the guys have got enough light to work by and it will just be a little bit safer and better for them. I'm just going to have a little run round now. Chris and Dan are here just busy cracking on. Corey and Oscar are arriving this afternoon. Then they're going to get stuck in as well, and then they're going to be here for the rest of the week carrying on with stuff. There's been a few little tricky parts that I want to show you, so we'll get into it. So the first of our challenges was the cable route, because as you can see we're under the stairs here, but that above that corner there is not directly below the floorboards. It goes up further, as you can see here, so actually goes up a little bit further, and then at the ceiling level here, that's where we've got floorboards above. So how do you get from the cupboard down there up into the ceiling to run the cables? Well, what we decided to do is come out of here with the customer's approval, come out of here, run the cables along in 100 by 100 trunking, and then up, so that we just got a 90-degree angle there. We're going to go across like that and just have all the cables bunched along and running up into the ceiling. They're going to then box this in later, so it kind of means that it's all going to be hidden and neat anyway, but that's kind of the only way to have a nice tidy route up above the ceiling, because there's just no way of getting, this is a staircase directly above here, and there's just no way of getting anything going up there by chopping it into this ceiling part. Obviously there are a couple of old cables where they did that, but it's really tight and you just wouldn't be able to pull in any new cables that way. So that's one thing that we've kind of overcome. The other thing is here, this used to be an external wall, and so it's quite thick and it's got a big cavity in it. And we're not removing these units. So what we're going to do is run the cables for these sockets down on the other side, because we've got some chasing to do here anyway for the kitchen, for the utility sockets. So we're going to continue the chase down and then pop through and just go into the back of the sockets in here, and then we can run the cooker circuit. We can go into that socket and then just extend it round. The chasing is going fairly well, as you can see. It's quite neat with that chaser. It's not the best wall chaser, unfortunately, but the guys are making good of it, so that's all good. Upstairs, so chasing now is pretty much done downstairs, which is good. We're using 35mm deep boxes. And the reason for that is that it makes it easier if they ever want to change to USB sockets in the future. It just makes it a lot easier to fit those in. If you fit 25mm boxes, it tends to be a little bit tight. Now it is more labour intensive putting in 35mm boxes, but you know, we like to over-engineer things a little bit at Artisan Electrics, so we've just done that because we think it's good practice. And then we're using oval conduit in the chases. So we're going to be using oval conduit and fixing it. I'll show you a little trick how to fix oval conduit in the wall in a minute. Then upstairs we've got still quite a lot of chasing to do, but the floorboards are all up, so you can see what's what there. There's quite a lot of pipes under the floorboards, and they've notched the heck out of these joists to run in various gas pipes and heating pipes and things like that. Now in here, the customer has asked if they can keep these wall lights, and if we can, keep the wiring to these sockets. It's not the newest, but it's not the horrible green goose stuff, so it is okay to reuse this part. And the reason is that they just don't want to have to go to the expense of plastering this whole room if they don't really need to. So we're just going to change these single sockets to doubles in here and reuse this circuit. We might partially rewire it, like maybe rewire both legs or something like that. We're going to reuse the cables here that go to those lights and just renew the feed. So this is the feed coming in at the moment. So we'll probably renew the feed from the board and just put a junction box down there for that. And then for these lights, at the moment they're just switched with that switch there, but we're going to put a pull switch up here so that they can turn the light on in a more logical place. And then we're going to have that permanent live going to that shaver light, because at the moment that's just switched as well, which seems a bit crazy. We've still got to figure out what to do with ventilation in here. We're waiting to hear about the soffits, whether they're asbestos or not. If they are, then we're not going to be able to drill them, so we're going to have to core drill through the wall. But if the soffits are not asbestos, then we're going to do a vent in the ceiling and then go through the loft and down out of the soffits, which is a lot less labour intensive than having to do core drilling. Everything's marked up, as you can see. So we've got a 2-gang switch to go here for up and down stairs, double socket to go there. And like I was saying, there's just loads of pipes everywhere. So we're going to try and stay out of the way of these pipes. There's all sorts going on with the pipes. But Chris is just about to start now cabling up this circuit for these sockets, and it's going to be, we decided to do up and downstairs rather than like 2 rooms upstairs and 2 rooms downstairs. We're going to do this bedroom along with the downstairs living room, and then we'll do this bedroom along with the downstairs dining room. It's just a lot easier to do that, to jump up and down as the chases are coming up from below anyway. It's just going to be easier to do it that way and have like a room above and a room below on the same radial circuit. So that's the plan here. Here's a little peek at that green goo in case you didn't see the original video. That's the kind of horrible stuff that comes out of these cables of a certain age. So that's why we're rewiring this property. And we're trying to rip out as much of the old wiring as we can as we go, just to make it clear what's in use and what's not, because it's not really nice to have loads of old wiring everywhere. And I'm probably going to get Oscar to crack on and strip out a load of this old stuff when he gets here. So I guess we're going to get rid of that pull switch as well, probably, because that's a bit old school. They used to have pull switches above the bed so that when you come in the door you turn the light on, and then when you get into bed you pull the switch and you turn the light off. It's a very old-fashioned thing that we don't really do anymore. Interesting little thing for you. So tool of the day, these wood bits, these Bosch wood bits are absolutely brilliant. They melt their way through joists, so if you are having to drill joists to run in cables, it's just a great thing to be able to use those. It just saves a lot of time. I'll leave a link in the description where you can get some of those. And another little interesting tool on this job is this thing from Inox. It's a marker, like a template marker, where you can just bang it on the wall and then use it to draw around to mark your boxes up. So we've been using those, quite handy a little thing to use. It's just made of plastic, but it's quite a useful little tool there. We've got an emergency light for the understairs cupboard. That's a little tip that I always like to do on a rewire. Put an emergency light in the understairs cupboard by the consumer unit, so that if there's a power cut, they have light understairs and they can have a look and see what's going on in the consumer unit. And then another thing is these. So this is what we're going to use to fix the oval conduit. And I'll show you how that works. So we use these 2-inch screws. The oval conduit goes in the wall like that, and then we'll get this box open and I'll show you. Basically, rather than using capping nails, which are really awkward and difficult, especially in brick like this, what you can do is just drill holes either side all the way up, just every 30 to 50 centimeters like that, and then you put a screw in with a penny washer, and that just holds the capping in place like that. It'll hold it in place really nicely. You can get it so that it's behind the plaster, so that the plasterers can just plaster over it, but it holds the oval conduit in place really nice and solid, and it's quick and easy to do. Much quicker and easier than faffing around with capping nails. So that's a little tip that I like to use. Another tip as well is that if you're ever struggling to get these level, what you can do, instead of using these adjustable holes in the back, knock out a couple of these knockouts and then use penny washers with screws, and that gives you a lot more adjustment in order to get the box nice and straight and flat. That's a nice little tip that I learned from somebody else, and I thought I'd share it with you. If you've got any cool little tips like that for rewires, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear all of your little tips and tricks that you've picked up over the years.